What we actually talk about is we're already in a war. This is different than the World War I and World War II because these are a kinetic war. We're talking about is unconventional warfare. We call them unrestricted warfare. So so like a CCP attacking your media. They've fetched out their global propaganda. They're attacking you. They're stealing your technology. Your technology war. They fighting. They went into your education institute, like from university to K-12, right? So, how do we link this concept of, war without gunfire or gunpowder to average American? How do we explain that, and that would resonate with them well? What's your suggestion?
It's not an easy one, but the fact of the matter is people need to stop cowering in fear and be brave and be willing to actually stand up and voice their opinions. We already know what's happening around the country, but the fact of the matter is that there's a lot more people, like the silent majority we like to call ourselves, that do not fall in line with these mainstream ideas, these ideologies that it's okay to do what is happening. And so we need to step up. We need to have the courage to speak our minds. For example, when TikTok came out, it was really cool. Everybody saw it. Oh my gosh. It went viral and millions of viewers and millions of downloads right away. And it was instantly known, okay, this is backed by China. And, that came out right away. We knew this. And yet, because of the people really wanting it so bad or being so infatuated with this technology, they ignored that. They did give up their personal freedom. They weren't willing to sacrifice their entertainment for their own personal freedom. And Benjamin Franklin has a quote that those who would give up personal liberty or sacrifice personal liberty for a little bit of safety deserve neither. And the idea here is that, it is inconvenient sometimes to not go with the mainstream and not do what everybody else is doing. But if you don't sacrifice that, how can you in the long run say that you have your own personal freedom? And that's really what I stand for, is personal freedom and liberty. And that's why at our company, we're really big on perpetuating free enterprise and capitalism, because we think that all of those with democracy go together. And you can't have that in a communist state. You can't have that in a socialist state. And you can't have that where an entire country or a world of population is just following the herd. And it's unfortunate, too. And it's really unfortunate, too, that our own government, they just they say the words, land of the free because of the brave. And they don't really embody that, though. They just say the words. They just give it lip service. But they won't do the hard things to actually address these issues head on. And it's a shame.
So what do you think that every average American needs to do more of? Like what they should be doing differently?
Right. Well, the first thing they need to do is turn off the nightly news. Turn off the CNNs and the MSNBCs and turn off all that and start picking up a history book. Reading a history book about anything. You guys are showing incredible videos of what's happened throughout history at almost every socialist, communist country. Every major empire like that has fallen, right? And we could talk about the Russians, the Soviets. We can talk about the Berlin Wall coming down. We can talk about what's happening in China, what's going on in North Korea right now, Cuba, all of that. Pick up a history book and then open your eyes and see what's happening around us. And then the only other thing you can really do at the grassroots level is spread the word. And my wife and I talk about this, that, when you're surrounded by a bunch of people that have differing views than you do, it's hard to stand your ground and say, no, I don't believe what you're saying is true, and having that conversation. And sometimes that's inside your own family. And it's scary, but we have to have those conversations. We have to speak our truth.
Yeah, thank you. So there's millions of Chinese who live behind the firewall in the communist China watching this live, okay, because we have the translation as well. So what do you want to say to them?
I'd say do whatever you can to let people outside of your country know what you're going through somehow, some way. Whatever you can do without putting yourself or your family at risk, and let people know what's actually happening, because without you telling and showing what's actually happening, which I'm so happy that we saw some of that during COVID, and how Shenzhen was being taken down and they're putting people into quarantine, and how inhumane the treatment was. Seeing that is what fuels people like me to want to do more.
What do you think about the new state of China? And what do you think about what you're doing here?
I think it's amazing. I think that anything that you're doing that is combating communist socialist ideas where we are telling everybody to give up their own personal rights, their own personal liberties, is to be applauded. And everybody should be behind you and helping and supporting of that. And also the inhumane handling of people around the world. For some reason, we turn a blind eye to this. We turn a blind eye to the fact that human trafficking is bigger than it's ever been. And somehow we're okay with this, even though in this country we fought against slavery, went to a civil war to fight against slavery, yet now we're turning a blind eye to human trafficking or organ donating, like you were saying earlier, right? Things like that. It's the fact of the matter is that what you guys are doing needs to be amplified probably 1,000-fold for people to start really getting the message and understanding what's happening, because it is going to impact us, right? We're going back to demographics. We're seeing what's happening around the world with the demographics, the aging of countries and things like that. China is one of those countries that's aging, and they're going to be looking for new mines and new places, and every war throughout history has always been a war for resources. Well, number one resource is the human mind, right? Yeah. So if we can start infiltrating the human mind, of course, we're going to be able to take over a lot more. And so the only way that we combat that is by providing more information. I think what you guys are doing is incredible.